To be clear, again, this wasn't a low blow or a trap or an attack on Bill Fuentes. Bill Fuentes.
Bill Fuentes.
But I do take some issue with your framing. You did bring up the guy's dad, and you said his name.
Yeah.
And when you said it on the air that way, this is a person who has had people attempt to assassinate him. They have come to his house, shown up at his door, and tried to kill him.
Andrew Wilson appeared on Piers Morgan Uncensored to discuss Piers Morgan's recent interview with Nick Fuentes. In the interview, Piers told an anecdote about Nick Fuentes' father. It's a story that Nick told on his own show before, but the difference is Piers Morgan, I don't want to say he doxed Nick Fuentes' father, but he definitely gave out his name. And in the current political climate we're in, that's dangerous. You know, he advertently involved Nick Fuentes' father in this. When Nick may have his own opinions, you may even consider them extreme. When you look at your average lefty tanky, they're not that extreme at all. Anything Nick Fuentes thinks, it's not as extreme as sacrificing children, especially at the time of birth. So I don't know. It's just kind of disgusting, you know, in the day and age we're in, unless you go right along with the, I don't even want to call it liberal agenda because it has nothing to do with liberty. But if you don't go along with the agenda, then they make you out to be dangerous. So it's okay that Piers Morgan went ahead and half doxed Nick Fuentes' father, gets Nick Fuentes' father involved in this because he's the good guy. He's fighting for the right side. He is on the right side of history, or so they would have you believe. And the reason Piers even told the story, he's insinuating that Nick is a product of his environment. A lot like American History X. If you've seen the end of that movie, turns out Edward Norton and Eddie Furlong's father was a firefighter who ended up getting killed by a black man. And I guess the message they were trying to show in that movie is that they were products of their environment. And of course, by the end of the movie, Eddie Furlong, Edward Norton, they see the error of their ways, and Eddie Furlong goes into a bathroom in his high school and gets smoked by a black kid. And much like in real life, Irina Zarutska, perhaps if Eddie Furlong were just a tad more racist, he would have survived to the end of that movie, but that is not the case. But that is how Piers is trying to frame this. Like, Nick Fuentes is a product of his environment. He feels the way he does because his father was evil. His father was an evil racist, which, you know, if you want to debate Nick Fuentes, fine, but leave the family out of it. If Nick Fuentes would have brought in Piers's family, Piers would have taken exception with that. So it's just kind of disgusting, number one. Number two, after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, after the attempted assassination on Donald Trump, after Steve Scalise on the baseball field, after Rand Paul getting attacked, after, you know, just unlimited examples of the left's violence, Piers knows what he's doing when he's putting that out there. So it's just kind of disgusting all in all. Piers has been in the industry something like 30, 40 years. He knows exactly what he's doing. And the fact is, Nick doesn't have that extreme of views. He just cares about the country. And if you want to call him racist, fine. He might sarcastically agree, but the point is, the truth is, he's really just noticing patterns, and they're patterns that we've all noticed. He doesn't hate every black person. He doesn't hate every Jewish person, but we're all adults here. And if we're not able to point out truths, if we're not able to have these uncomfortable discussions in order to find a solution that's best for everybody involved, not just white people, not just black people, everyone involved, then what are we even doing here? You know, Elon Musk brings it up a lot. You know, to understand the nature of the universe, the truth of the universe, you've got to be able to tell the truth all around. If we're over here just lying over the little things or even the bigger things, then we're never going to get anywhere. So all these people that virtue signal about wanting to end racism, you're not willing to take the steps necessary to get there. So back to the clip here. We're going to watch it. Andrew Wilson comes in and basically obliterates Piers Morgan. Not that it would get through Piers's thick skull, but we're going to check this out. I'll see you on the other end, and yeah, hopefully we can start having those conversations soon.
You want to go after families? We could play that game. Your family's greenlit then too, Piers. Your family's greenlit as well. So, fuck you and your family. Fuck you and fuck your kids. You bring my dad into it?
Just about everybody else has.
Yeah, bitch, you have had your say on this. We've heard your say over and over again.
There's been columns in newspapers and magazines, endless hours of YouTube commentary, hundreds of thousands of posts on X, plus the inevitable swarm of groiper weirdos following me everywhere online.
And that's another thing. Maybe they're following you around online because, unlike you, these groypers, they don't have a massive platform. They don't get to speak to thousands, if not millions of people and knowingly spread lies and deceit. So yeah, they are coming at you when they see you up to your bullshit. The fact is, the Western media has done more harm to society. They've helped flood the country with illegals or with supposed refugees. They've done everything they can do to take away national sovereignty, to take away national pride, to take away individual rights. So yeah, maybe they are following you around because that's the only voice they have, because they want to call you out for your bullshit, because they see the shit you're doing. They see you intentionally putting Nick Fuentes' family in the limelight. And that's wrong. So you can make them out to, oh, these weird groypers, these incels are following me around online. Well, you're not innocent. You've got blood on your hands too.
Well, Fuentes responded by getting very worked up and directing his trolls to harass me and all my family, all very predictable.
Exactly the way you directed your legion of lunatic leftist tankies to go after Nick Fuentes' family.
To be clear, again, this wasn't a low blow or a trap or an attack on Bill Fuentes. It was a question about a story which I thought could be insightful. And it was a story that Nick Fuentes decided to share on his own show to his own followers. So that's Nick Fuentes, in his own words, telling the story that he objected to me asking him about. How did he get there? Having interviewed people for nearly 4 decades now, I find their upbringing is almost always influential one way or another. And if you don't want other people to talk about it, then why talk about it very publicly yourself? And if Nick Fuentes, through his own story about his parents there, and particularly his father, if he grew up in an environment of overt racism, with his father saying, I'm not taking you to certain restaurants because they're associated with black fare, then you can begin to understand why he himself has become overtly racist and indeed is proud of it. So to me, it was a very relevant question. But again, it can't be an ambush if all I'm doing is asking him about a story he himself put in the public domain. Andrew Wilson, what did you think?
Well, I was just watching your previous segment, and I thought that the framing there was a little off. So I've always appreciated coming on the show and you letting me get my viewpoints out. But I do take some issue with your framing. You did bring up the guy's dad, and you said his name that way. This is a person who has had people attempt to assassinate him. They have come to his house, shown up at his door, and tried to kill him. And that's on video happening. And so when you said the guy's name and then try to tie it into racism, I know that you know this, Piers, but the left broadly will do these harassment campaigns. These harassment campaigns are designed specifically to incite the violence of many of their mentally ill followers.
Andrew, let me just say,
that's what they do.
Yeah, let me just say, if I had my time again, I wouldn't have said his father's name.
You know, Andrew Wilson is 100% correct. Piers does know better. He's been doing this for decades. And the fact is, Piers, you don't have your time over again. But you knew what you were doing. That was pre-planned. You planned on saying Nick Fuentes' father's name. You planned on bringing the family into this. You planned on casting them as racist, just how you did Nick. And it's disgusting. And you can play woefully ignorant all you want. You can pretend not to understand, but you know exactly what you did. And you're not fooling anybody. Maybe that's why people are coming after you online, because they see your treachery, they see how fucked up you are, and they know it's wrong. I'd 100% rather live in a neighborhood full of supposed groypers than I would a neighborhood of lefties or the Piers Morgans who have no problem importing millions of supposed African refugees to completely obliterate all the part of the country that Piers doesn't have to go to. As long as he's safe in his gated community, being a cuck while his wife... Yeah, anyway, let's watch the rest of this and wrap up this video.
But I would have still told the anecdote because I thought it was really important to Nick Fuentes.
The anecdote's not the relevant part.
Well, but the anecdote is relevant. Yeah. The anecdote is relevant when he immediately tried to attack me for ambushing him with a story that he told himself on his show. I mean, look, if I told a story like that,
that's not what people are upset about.
No, I understand.
They weren't upset about the anecdote. They were upset that you specifically said the guy's name after Fuentes has had these assassination attempts on him.
To be clear, if I had my time again, wouldn't have said his father's name, notwithstanding the fact you can find it in 2 seconds on the internet. Right? So it's not like it's not difficult to find. But I do think it's important that anecdote, to me, was potentially very relevant to why Nick Fuentes is the way he is about racism, for example. Because he was telling a story that cannot be construed, Andrew, any other way than his father was directing them away from restaurants because of his racist views about the people that go in them or run them. And it couldn't be seen any other way.
I get that. I get the point of bringing the anecdote up, but that wasn't what looked to me like what was making these guys so angry. Was not the anecdote itself, but the fact that you said the guy's name, so referenced it as his dad, and then this guy's had assassination attempts.
Yeah, but the story was him telling the story.
By the way, hang on. Yeah. A lot of the first assassination attempt happened because of the "Your Body, My Choice" thing that he put that tweet out, and people began doxing his address and his family's name, and that's why they showed up to kill him. So the guy's grievance there, I think, is legitimate.
Yeah, but I think it's important that his grievance wasn't just that I named his father, which again is a matter of public record. You can find it anywhere. Although I wouldn't have said it if I had my time again, because I don't want to attack his family for the sake of attacking his family.
Nah, bro, that's exactly what you were doing. You were attacking his family for the sake of attacking his family because you don't agree with his views. This isn't even your country. You know what I mean? I hate to even go there, but just take a look at Europe right now, with the exception of Poland and maybe Russia, which is public enemy number one, the one country that isn't mass importing brown people. The fact is, you were attacking his family because you don't agree with Nick's views. And then you see how he plays ignorant. You see how Piers plays ignorant. Andrew Wilson keeps bringing up, it wasn't the anecdote that was the issue. It's the fact that you named his father. Oh, no, I understand that, but I think the anecdote was important. But you didn't have to say Nick's father's name. That was calculated. That was planned. When you say you wouldn't do it again if you had your time over, you're lying. That's exactly what you were meaning to do. And the people have had enough of the media's deception. You don't hate these people enough, especially considering how they feel about you. So we're going to wrap it up here for today. I really appreciate you staying to the end of this video. If you would do me the favor, please like, please subscribe. I don't like saying that. It feels like every YouTuber says that. It feels like everyone knows that at this point. But the fact is, it truly helps out so much. And hey, it's free. It just takes a couple seconds of your time. I will see you on the next video. We're going to keep speaking truth. We're going to keep exposing the corruption. I mean, sometimes it feels utterly hopeless, but you know what? They ain't taken our voices yet, so we may as well use them. I hope you have a great day. God bless. We will see you next time.